You know, um, you know that exact moment. It's pitch black outside, the room is freezing, and the silence is just absolute.
Mhm.
And then suddenly the alarm clock shatters it.
Oh, yeah. The worst
Like
feeling.
crack open one eye,
Ugh.
and there it is, just glaring at you from the nightstand in neon red, 5:00 a.m.
It really is the ultimate daily battleground, isn't it? Like the warm, comforting sanctuary of your blankets pitted against the cold, unforgiving reality of the floor.
It feels like an actual physical weight is pinning you down.
Mhm.
I mean, most of us just surrender in that moment. We slap the snooze button, roll over, and drift back off, and, we promise ourselves we'll be better tomorrow.
And honestly, we shouldn't judge ourselves too harshly for that. I mean, in that specific instant, our biology is putting up a massive fight.
Really, like a physical fight.
Oh, absolutely. Sleep inertia is an incredibly powerful physiological force, and it just wants to keep you horizontal.
But what if I told you that winning that tiny, grueling moment of friction is actually the hidden back door to completely transforming your career, your health, and your peace of mind?
It sounds like a big promise.
It does, but welcome to today's deep dive. We're unpacking a methodology today that has fascinated both of us. The framework from Robin Sharma's The 5 a.m. Club.
Such a great one.
Yeah, it really is. And we've pulled together the most critical insights on how this whole philosophy actually works. So we're going to explore the famous 20-20-20 formula, look at the actual neuroscience of why habits fail and how to make them stick, and, most importantly, figure out how to translate those early morning intentions into real-world daily success.
Yeah, because it's an incredibly robust framework. We aren't just talking about waking up early so you can, brag about waking up early on social media.
Right, the hustle culture thing.
Exactly. We're talking about restructuring your entire biological and psychological operating system.
Look, I know you're busy. If you're listening to this, we all are. We live in this relentless world of constant digital distraction, overflowing inboxes, and endless notifications.
It's exhausting.
It really is.
Yeah.
Finding even 20 minutes for personal mastery can feel completely impossible, let alone an entire hour. But this deep dive is designed to give you a shortcut to reclaiming your time and your focus. Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
Before we get into how to drag yourself out of bed at 5 a.m., we have to talk about why. Because just, sitting in the dark, staring blankly at the wall while the rest of the house sleeps, that isn't going to make you a genius.
No, definitely not.
So how does this methodology actually structure that first hour?
Well, what's fascinating here is the framework deconstructs this initial victory hour into three highly calibrated 20-minute blocks. It's known as the 20-20-20 formula.
Okay, 20-20-20.
Right. And the clock starts ticking the absolute second your feet hit the floor. The first 20 minutes, so from 5:00 to 5:20 a.m., are dedicated entirely to movement.
Movement, like a light jog.
Actually, no. And to be clear, this isn't a leisurely walk to the mailbox or some gentle stretching. It must involve intense, sweaty exercise.
So we're talking wind sprints, a barrage of burpees, maybe jumping on a spin bike, something that gets the heart rate spiking right out of the gate.
That's the idea. And there is a profound neurobiological reason for starting your day with sweat.
Oh yeah? Listening.
When you wake up, your cortisol levels are naturally peaking. Cortisol is our primary stress and fear hormone.
Right, that's what gives you that groggy, slightly anxious feeling first thing in the morning.
Exactly. Vigorous, sweaty exercise acts as a physiological cleanser. It literally flushes that cortisol right out of your system. But the real magic is that sweating releases something called BDNF.
BDNF,
Yeah.
brain-derived neurotrophic factor, right? I've heard this described before as basically miracle grow for the human brain.
That is the perfect way to visualize it. Yeah, Miracle Grow. BDNF repairs brain cells that have been damaged by stress, and it significantly accelerates the formation of new neural connections.
Wow.
So by doing a hard workout at 5 a.m., you are quite literally upgrading your brain's processing power for the rest of the day.
That's incredible.
And at the same time, this intense movement spikes your dopamine, the neurotransmitter responsible for drive and motivation, as well as serotonin, which regulates your baseline of happiness.
Okay, so think about the advantage there. By 5:20 a.m., while your competition or your colleagues are still snoring, you've essentially chemically engineered your own brain to feel confident, focused, and driven.
Precisely. And you've primed yourself for the next 20 minutes, which shift gears entirely. From 5:20 to 5:40 a.m., you move into reflection.
Reflection.
Yeah, you've sweat out the stress, so now you enter a period of deep peace and solitude. The methodology highly recommends using this time for a specific type of journaling called daily diaries.
So just writing down what you did yesterday?
No, this isn't just a captain's log of what you ate for dinner. It's a dedicated space to process low-energy, toxic emotions.
Oh, I see. It's about getting the mental clutter out of your head and onto the paper, right?
Yes, exactly. The underlying principle here is that you have to feel a wound to heal a hurt. If you're carrying resentment from a meeting yesterday or anxiety about a project due tomorrow, it takes up cognitive bandwidth.
Right. It's just running in the background.
Yep. So you write those emotions down to release them so they don't passively drain your energy at like 2 p.m.
I imagine that also clears the runway for the second half of that journaling practice, which is the pre-performance blueprint. I love this idea.
It's so powerful.
It is. You aren't just hoping for a good day. You are literally scripting out your perfect day in advance. You're setting intentions for exactly how you want to show up.
You're visualizing the execution, which brings us right into the final 20 minutes of the hour, from 5:40 to 6:00.
The last 20.
Right. Your body is energized, your mind is clear and focused, so now you feed it. This is the growth phase, dedicated entirely to studying and learning.
So this is where you pull out the biographies of history makers, listen to an audiobook, or maybe consume a podcast that improves your craft.
Exactly that. This phase is driven by what the framework calls the 2x3x mindset.
2 by 3x.
It's a very simple but powerful equation. If you want to double your income and double your impact, you have to triple your investment in two core areas, your personal mastery and your professional capability.
It's the ultimate competitive advantage. You are outlearning everyone else in your industry before the sun even clears the horizon. But I have to jump in here and play the skeptic for a minute.
Sure, go ahead.
I completely get the value of moving, reflecting, and growing. It's a brilliant routine. But why 5 a.m.? I know so many people listening who consider themselves night owls. Couldn't I just run this exact same 20-20-20 playbook at 8 p.m. when the house is quiet and my workday is done?
It's a very common question.
Right, because think of your brain like a smartphone.
Yeah.
By noon, you have 50 apps open. You're checking emails, talking to your boss, navigating traffic, remembering to buy groceries. The battery is draining rapidly and the processor is lagging. So why force the morning instead of just waiting until night?
Well, your smartphone analogy actually hits the nail on the head, and it perfectly explains why 8 p.m. simply won't work for this specific routine.
Really?
Yeah, it comes down to a neurobiological concept called transient hypofrontality, which is arguably the beating heart of this entire methodology.
Transient hypofrontality. That sounds incredibly clinical, almost like a condition you'd need a prescription for.
It does sound intimidating, I know, but it's actually a state of peak human performance. Let's break the word down. Transient just means temporary.
Okay, temporary.
And hypo means less or under. And frontality refers to your prefrontal cortex. That is the rational, analytical, worrying, and overthinking part of your brain.
Ah, the part that won't shut up.
Yes. It's the part of you that stresses about deadlines and critiques every move you make. At 5 a.m., because you are away from the overstimulation of the day, there are no emails, no news feeds, no immediate demands on your attention. Well, your prefrontal cortex temporarily shuts down. It mutes itself.
That constant nagging inner monologue of worry just goes offline.
It does. And when that inner critic goes quiet, your brainwaves actually shift. They move from their normal, highly alert, waking beta state down into an alpha state, or even deeper into a theta state.
And what does that do?
This biological shift allows you to enter what psychologists call the flow state. It's a realm of pure, unhindered creativity and genius-level insight. Because we all have a strictly limited amount of cognitive bandwidth each day, you simply cannot replicate this pristine state at 8 p.m.
Oh, because by the evening, the world has already hijacked your attention.
Exactly, and your prefrontal cortex is exhausted, but it's still spinning.
Okay, so that 5 a.m. hour is a uniquely insulated environment. You can't fake it later in the day. But knowing this 20-20-20 formula, knowing the science of brain waves and BDNF, that's practically useless if you keep hitting the snooze button.
It is. Information without execution is nothing.
Right. Knowing what to do doesn't magically teleport you out from under a warm duvet. So what does this all mean for you, listening right now, when that alarm goes off tomorrow morning and the excuses still whispering in your ear? How do we actually wire this behavior into our nervous system so it sticks?
Well, that requires us to understand the architecture of consistency. Motivation is fickle, right? It disappears when you're cold and tired.
Oh, completely.
So to automate this behavior, the methodology relies on a specific habit arc. It's a 4-part loop. Trigger, Ritual, reward, and repetition.
Okay, let's ground that in reality. The trigger can't just be the alarm on your phone sitting next to your pillow because you'll just turn it off.
No, absolutely not.
The trigger needs to force action, like putting an old school, obnoxiously loud alarm clock all the way across the bedroom.
And ideally, setting it 30 minutes fast so you trick your brain into a sense of urgency.
Oh, that's clever.
The ritual, then, is the immediate action. It's the physical act of jumping out of bed the very second that alarm sounds. You have to move before your prefrontal cortex has time to rationalize staying under the covers.
You literally have to outrun your own excuses.
You do, because you are fighting against a psychological reality known as ego depletion.
Break that down for us, because I think a lot of people blame themselves for being lazy when something else is actually going on.
Absolutely. People are too hard on themselves. Ego depletion is the scientific reality that your willpower is not a fixed personality trait. It is a muscle, and more accurately, it operates like a battery.
Like the smartphone battery again.
Exactly. When you wake up after a good night's sleep, you have a full battery of self-control. But every single time you make a decision throughout the day, what tie to wear, what to eat for lunch, how to carefully word an email to a passive-aggressive client, you suffer from decision fatigue.
You drain a little bit of that willpower battery.
Yes. By 8 p.m., your self-control is entirely exhausted. This is why people make poor choices at night. It's why you find yourself doom scrolling for 2 hours or eating junk food on the couch.
Your defenses are completely down. And that makes the argument for 5 a.m. even stronger. You are tackling the hardest, most important work of personal growth when your willpower battery is at 100%.
That's the strategic advantage. But I have to be honest, even with a full battery, installing this habit is incredibly hard in the beginning.
There's an analogy in the framework that I think captures this struggle perfectly. The space shuttle.
Oh, I love this one.
Yeah, when a space shuttle takes off, it uses vastly more fuel the first 60 seconds after liftoff than it does orbiting the entire Earth. Why? Because in those first 60 seconds, it has to overcome the immense, invisible, crushing force of gravity.
It takes so much energy.
But once it breaks through that atmospheric pull, momentum takes over, and it practically glides.
That visualization perfectly illustrates the concept of the 66-day minimum. Behavioral science suggests it takes roughly 66 days to encode a new habit into your neural pathways to the point where it reaches the automaticity point.
The automaticity point, meaning the point where it actually becomes easier to do the habit than not to do it. Waking up at 5 a.m. becomes your default setting.
Correct. But getting there requires surviving 3 very distinct 22-day stages.
Let's walk through those stages so people know exactly what kind of pain to expect.
Good idea.
The first 22 days are referred to as the destruction phase.
Going back to your space shuttle analogy, this is where you are overcoming gravity. You are actively tearing down your old life, your old neural pathways, and your comfortable psychological patterns.
And it hurts.
We need to be incredibly honest here. It is supposed to feel like torture. If it wasn't hard, you wouldn't be changing.
Right. You are actively destroying the old version of yourself. And once you survive that, these 23 to 44 usher in the installation phase. This sounds like it should be easier, but the methodology calls this the messy middle.
It's like remodeling a kitchen. You've torn out the old cabinets, but the new ones aren't in yet, and there is just dust and chaos everywhere. Your brain is in complete upheaval, actively trying to string together new neural pathways.
And how does that feel physically?
Because the routine is still so unfamiliar, your cortisol actually elevates again. You feel stressed, you feel confused, and you will likely feel profoundly exhausted.
So this is when people usually quit.
Exactly. Day 25 or 30 is usually when you find yourself staring blankly at the coffee maker, questioning all of your life choices. Mystics often refer to this stage of transformation as the dark night of the soul.
Wow, it's the ultimate test of endurance. But if you don't quit during that messy middle, you finally reach days 45 to 66, the integration phase.
This is where the clouds part, all that hard work, the exhaustion, the psychological rewiring, it solidifies. The new habit integrates into your identity.
You aren't just trying to be a morning person anymore.
Right. Waking up at 5 a.m. is no longer something you force yourself to do. It's simply who you are. And the most beautiful part of hitting that automaticity point is that the willpower you were previously burning just to get out of bed is now freed up.
So you can use it for other things.
Exactly. You can take that full battery and use it to build your next great habit.
Okay, so let's say you've survived the 66 days. You are absolutely owning your morning. But conquering the morning is really only half the battle, isn't it?
It's a great start, but yes, it's only half.
Right, because rising at 5 a.m., doesn't guarantee you a successful life if you spend the remaining 15 hours of your day putting out meaningless fires, reacting to digital noise, and mindlessly scrolling. How do we protect this momentum? Here's where it gets really interesting.
If we connect this to the bigger picture of your overall day, the framework introduces the concept of protecting your 5 assets of genius.
5 assets.
Yes, these are mental focus, physical energy, personal willpower, original talent, and your daily time. Super producers, the top 5% of performers in any field, they realize that these assets are constantly under attack.
Right. They're under attack by what the text brilliantly calls cyber zombies. We all know them.
We might even be them sometimes.
True. People walking around staring down at screens, completely detached from their surroundings, absolutely incapable of doing deep, meaningful work.
To avoid becoming a cyber zombie and to protect those 5 assets, the methodology outlines specific tactics for daily execution. The foundational one is building a tight bubble of total focus, or TBTF.
A tight bubble. Like the sound of that.
It's a metaphorical moat you build around your workspace. You actively block out the spam, the fake news, the toxic office gossip, and the constant pinging of notifications. You isolate yourself in a pristine environment so you can actually hear your own thoughts.
But how do you do that practically? I mean, if you work in an open plan office or you work from home and have kids running around, you can't just build a physical moat.
No, you can't. It comes down to communication and boundaries. It might mean wearing noise-canceling headphones to signal you are deeply engaged. It means turning off all push notifications on your devices.
That's a big one.
Huge. And it means communicating to your team or your family that for a specific window of time, you are unreachable unless the building is literally on fire.
And what are you doing inside that bubble? Just working normally?
No, you are executing the 90901 rule. For the next 90 days, you spend the first 90 minutes of your workday focused purely on the single core project that will allow you to dominate your field.
Wow. 90 straight minutes.
Yes. No checking emails, just real quick, no casually chatting with coworkers, just monomaniacal focus on your absolute highest value output.
And that level of intensity is sustained by what they call the 60-10 method.
Yes. You work intensely without moving or distracting yourself for 60 solid minutes. Then you force yourself to step away and actively recover for 10 minutes.
So you don't just switch to answering emails for 10 minutes.
No. Go for a walk, listen to a piece of music, meditate. You completely detach from the work, and then you dive back in for the next sprint.
Okay, I have to pause on that word, sprint. Because listening to this, the 90901 rule, the 60-10 method, building bubbles of total focus, it sounds incredibly intense.
It is intense.
Isn't this just a fast track to severe burnout? I mean, we aren't machines. It sounds like we are just grinding gear after gear. To me, it feels like we need to stop trying to work like marathoners, grinding out mile after endless mile, and start working more like sprinters.
You've hit on one of the most paradoxical and crucial truths in this entire philosophy. The framework wholly agrees with you.
Oh, really?
Yes. It introduces what's called the twin cycles of elite performance. The core insight here is that elite creatives and top performers do not work in a linear fashion. They don't just sit at a desk for 12 hours to get better results. They use oscillation.
Oscillation, like the rhythm of a heartbeat. Expand, contract, work, rest.
Exactly. They alternate high excellence cycles, which is that intense 90901 output you just described with deep refueling cycles. They prioritize real restorative rest.
Real rest, not just scrolling on the couch.
Because in biology, as well as in professional growth, adaptation and strengthening actually happen during the recovery phase, not during the stress phase. If you lift weights, your muscles grow when you sleep, not when you're lifting.
Okay, so how do we actively refuel our cognitive muscles?
Yeah.
Because, watching Netflix doesn't feel like deep refueling.
It isn't. The framework offers a few incredible tactics for true recovery. The first is the second wind workout. At the end of your workday, instead of collapsing on the couch, you do a second lighter workout, ideally a 1-hour nature walk.
A walk in the evening.
Yeah, it beats back that evening exhaustion, gets you out into fresh air, and it actually alters your physiology to lower your sugar cravings at night.
I love that. It creates a physical and psychological boundary between the stress of the workday and the peace of the evening.
And the second refueling tactic is the 2 massage protocol.
Okay, you don't have to sell me too hard on that one.
I know it sounds indulgent, right? But it mandates scheduling 2 90-minute deep tissue massages every single week.
Twice a week.
Yes. It reframes massage not as a luxury or a spa day, but as a strict biological necessity for elite performance. Consistent, deep tissue work drops your cortisol by up to 31%.
That's significant.
Very. It boosts dopamine and serotonin, and most importantly, it reduces the systemic stress that literally degrades your telomeres.
Telomeres. Remind me what those are.
They're the protective caps on the ends of your DNA that control cellular aging. So the message is clear: elite rest is just as important and requires just as much intention as elite work.
Wow. Okay, let's take a breath and look at the map of what we've traversed today. We started in the dark at 5 a.m., fighting the immense gravity of the blankets.
A tough battle.
We broke down the 20-20-20 formula during the victory hour. Using the first 20 minutes to move and spike BDNF, the next 20 minutes to reflect and script your day so you aren't reacting blindly, and the final 20 minutes to grow your mindset and outlearn the competition.
It's a core engine.
Right. And then we talked about the brutal reality of surviving this 66-day habit insulation protocol, pushing through the destruction phase and that dusty, messy installation phase to finally reach the automaticity point.
It's quite a journey.
And finally, we looked at how to translate that morning momentum into daily execution, using the tight bubble of total focus, the 90901 rule, and oscillating our energy with deep refueling cycles like nature walks and deep tissue work. This isn't just motivational theory, this is a highly specific blueprint you can apply tomorrow morning to start reclaiming your genius and stop falling into the trap of just being busy.
This raises an important question.
Oh, go ahead.
This raises an important question for you, the listener, to carry with you today. Take a hard, honest look at your days. How are you currently spending your cognitive bandwidth? Are you investing it in the pursuit of mastery, or are you diffusing it across 1,000 trivial distractions? Because the hours that the 95% of society waste, the top 5% treasure.
That is a heavy, necessary question to sit with. And as we wrapped up this deep dive, we'll leave you with one final, slightly provocative thought pulled from the historical anecdotes in this methodology. It wasn't in our main breakdown today, but it's a detail that really stuck with me.
What is it?
So, in ancient Rome, when a victorious military leader was parading through the streets, being cheered by the masses and showered with glory, a servant would stand directly behind him in the chariot. Amidst all that noise and adulation, the servant had one job: to continually whisper a phrase into the leader's ear. Memento homo.
Remember, you are only a man.
Exactly. It was meant to keep their arrogance in check, but the framework connects this to a much deeper, more urgent maxim. Tomorrow is a bonus, not a right.
A stark reminder of the transience of life.
A reminder that time is our most depreciating asset. I want to challenge you to ponder your own mortality for a second. If our days are truly numbered, and tomorrow isn't promised to any of us, why are you waiting to step into your potential? Why postpone your greatness to a future that might never arrive?
It's a profound call to immediate action.
So tomorrow morning, when it's pitch black, the room is freezing, and that alarm clock shatters the silence at exactly 5:50 a.m., remember that the tiny, agonizing battle between the warm blankets and the cold floor isn't just about getting out of bed. It's about deciding who you are going to be. See you in the morning.